Just again, a welcome. Really grateful to be able to be with you again today for another opportunity to practice mindfulness and meditation, practicing ways to get to know the mind better so we can hopefully live with a little more ease, or if nothing else, a little more understanding of ourselves and how we relate to our experience. A way to be in this world with a little more wisdom and hopefully a little more ease. So I'm just glad to be here with you. And unlike many of the other sessions that we have, I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. And that is, rather than doing a grounding meditation and having a topic and then doing another meditation, I thought we would just pretty much practice the whole period. And this is an opportunity that you may or may not give yourself if you are practicing meditation, on your own. I don't know how much time you normally allocate to it, but there can be a real benefit to practicing for a longer period of time. And sometimes I feel like in these sessions, we do shorter meditations. You don't really get a chance for the mind to either to settle completely, which is what can happen, or for the mind to settle and then start going berserk again and watch where it goes, right? So a longer meditation allows us to watch more of the activities of the mind. And especially like if the mind starts to go crazy, then can we be with that? Can we watch the craziness and not have to just get up and move, just, end the session because I can't take this anymore? Is there a way to be with this? Or if we start falling asleep because it's a longer meditation, the mind gets bored and says, oh my God, nothing's happening here. I think I'll just go to sleep, So we can watch that tendency. So I will give guidance. It's not going to be, the whole time in silence. I'll give some instructions that will give pointers for different meditation topics that we've actually used in other sessions, a lot of them. But the continuity of this, of having this quiet time, this introspective time, hopefully will give you the opportunity to observe more of where your mind is at today anyway. It doesn't mean every day is going to be this way. And if you're new to the practice, if this is your first session, don't freak out thinking, oh my God, what I've gotten into, just go with the flow. Or anybody, if you get so restless you can't sit any longer, then just stand up and let that energy move, but know whether you really need to do something about your discomfort, or can you just be with it? That's part of our practice too, noticing I'm just not really liking what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And not liking feels like this, or restlessness feels like this, or sleepiness feels like this. But then there are other things I'll suggest that maybe we can introduce to just explore with the mind, how we relate to our mind. And as we often do, I'll use an instruction that uses the breath as the anchor. So this will be mindfulness with breathing. So various mindfulness practices using the breath as the anchor, or the place that we keep bringing our awareness back to. So we'll give the intention to stay with the breath, but then we can explore some other things. But if you start losing it, just remind yourself of coming back to the breath. And again, as always, if the breath is uncomfortable for you, if you have trouble breathing the breath as a sensation, maybe just practice with noticing, receiving the energy, letting go of energy, feel it kind of on an energetic level rather than a sensation if you have some difficulty in breathing. Or really, if you have another object that works better for you, keep going back to that object. And then just follow the rest of the instructions. Keep going back to your object, but then just pay attention to the instructions. And if you really don't like the instructions, then you can just meditate on your own. And the whole time, this is your opportunity to not have me talking a whole lot. So I'm done talking a whole lot. And we'll start the practice now. So as always, take your meditation seat, and especially for this time, find a way of being, a posture that you feel like you can really be comfortable in, that feels supportive, that you're able to relax into, but not so relaxed that you're going to fall asleep. You want to keep that alertness. So sitting, lying down, standing, whatever works for you. So we'll let the bell transition us here. So the ringing of the bell is our invitation to let go of all the words, the arriving, and it's the invitation to come inwards. So if you're comfortable closing the eyes to really not have visual disturbance, or just having a soft gaze, not looking around, and just coming in to the sense of being present. This embodied presence, you probably feel the sensation of the body. How do you know you're even here? So what is the sense of that body present here? And then this mind that's aware of this body present right here. And what is the mood of the mind right now? Is it still kind of in the arrival stage? A little bit of agitation, wondering what's coming next, leaning into the future, wondering what's going to happen, or maybe it's a little drowsy, or maybe it's just waiting to see what's going to be suggested next. So whatever it is, just notice the overall energy or the mood of the mind and accept it for what it is. It's like this right now. And again, bring the awareness of this mind, letting it rest in this body. And this body is resting on the support, the floor, the chair, whatever you're resting on. Feeling the groundedness of that support. Don't have to work to hold this body up. So you have the groundedness, yet inviting alertness of the spine, lengthening the spine in whatever way is comfortable. Brings alertness to the mind and body, but also allowing for relaxation. We're not trying to get anywhere, we're not trying to be anything. We're just present, relaxed awareness right here, right now. And we can set the intention during this meditation period to be aware of this whole body and specifically a meditation object. I suggest the breath or whatever works for you. To keep anchoring our attention, bringing our awareness back to that is the base for our awareness. But then also, I'll suggest a few other themes or topics that you could invite into awareness to observe how you're relating to the experience. So our practice is being in this present moment, being aware of what's happening and knowing what's happening. But the other component of our mindfulness practice is noticing how we're responding to it, how we're relating to it. Is it stressful or not? And we don't judge any of this, we just notice it's like this. So how is it right now? This mind. And then directing the attention of the mind to the meditation object. So again, I suggest the breath, if that works for you. Otherwise, whatever object you choose. If it is the breath, noticing breathing in is like this. Breathing out is like this. So just knowing when you're breathing in, knowing when you're breathing out, whether you experience it as a sensation or an energetic receiving on the breathing in, letting go on the breathing out. And letting the awareness just rest with that meditation object. Anchoring in the awareness, breathing in, breathing out. And noticing if we're still paying attention to breathing in and out, or if the mind wanders off. And if it's wandered off, no problem. Just notice where it went and reset the intention to just come back and be aware of breathing in and breathing out as it happens, moment to moment. And maybe just knowing breathing in and out is sort of boring for the mind. So we could explore noticing the quality of the breath. Is it a long breath or a short breath, deep or shallow? So we can pay closer attention to this breathing in and breathing out, noticing, not judging, but just noticing. Is it long in, short out? Maybe long in, long out. How is it? Can we be interested in the details of this process of breathing? Maybe there's a pause in between the in-breath and the out-breath. And the out-breath and the in-breath, we can notice that too. Are we still present with the breath, or has the mind wandered off? And if it has, we can just notice where it goes. We set the intention to pay attention to the breath, observing the characteristics of the breath with curiosity. What is this breathing process about? Does it feel relaxed or tense? Are there pauses in between? The body breathing is like this. Can we observe it with interest and alertness? And just noticing how the mind is, if it's still present with this paying attention to the details of the breath, or if it's wandered off, you can notice that too. Just notice what the mind's paying attention to, and just whether the mind feels interested, alert, or sleepy, or bored, whatever. Just noticing. And then we can play with another way of watching the breath. We can, rather than looking at the details, soften and widen our observation of the breath. And just get a sense of the whole body breathing. Can you invite that as an investigation with the mind? So the whole body breathing in feels like this. The whole body breathing out feels like this. Sense of receiving and letting go. Is there expansion, contraction? The whole body breathing. How does that look like in this mind, this body? Can we be interested in that? And are we still paying attention to this whole body breathing? Is the mind still interested in that? And if so, how does the mind feel? Does it feel relaxed in the rhythm or bored? And if the mind's wandered off, just resetting the intention, just be with this experience of the whole body breathing, this expansive feeling of receiving, letting go. Inhalation, exhalation. Just the rhythm of this change, this constant movement of the breath. And noticing, again, the quality of the mind, if it's observing the whole body breathing, this rhythmic quality, or whatever the mind's experiencing, how is it right now? Calming, stressful, just noticing. And then setting the intention to just notice breathing in, breathing out, and noticing any way that that invites calm in the body. Maybe the whole body breathing brings a sense of calm, that rhythm, or maybe if you have a detailed kind of mind, that paying attention to more specific details is calming, but just breathing in, noticing calm wherever it is, breathing out, noticing calm, or inviting calm if it's not present. Breathing in, calm. Breathing out, calm. Awareness of breathing, noticing calm or any amount of settling of the breath in this body. So noticing if the mind is still with the breath or if it's wandered off. Inviting it to come back and rest with the breath. Inviting calm, breathing in, breathing out. And then we can notice breathing in, breathing out, and noticing if there's any amount of contentment or ease, or maybe even a slight amount of pleasure, something pleasant about this process of breathing in, breathing out. Or just awareness, if you're using another meditation object, just keeping awareness of this meditation object, letting the mind rest there. This is a gift we can give ourselves to let go of thinking, worrying. Maybe the mind has gone off there, but can we notice any amount of ease or contentment, or maybe even pleasantness about being with our meditation object? Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just being here with this object. Can we notice this sense of ease or pleasure? Breathing in, breathing out. Just being with this awareness. We notice contentment, pleasure. And if we're not noticing pleasure, do we need to invite more energy to make the mind alert? Or more relaxation to just be with the object? What would lead to a sense of ease, enjoyment of this process of breathing, gratitude for being able to breathe? And if you've been with the breath for a while, maybe the mind is starting to wander off into thinking or maybe sleeping, we can just notice what other activities of the mind are going on other than just this awareness of this process of breathing, of being with our meditation object. What's the mind activity that's going on? Can we notice the effect of that? And invite it to just settle or calm, coming back to the ease of being with our meditation object. So we don't dislike the mind activity, we just notice it. It's just another thing we're aware of. We're noticing sleepiness, and then resetting the intention to be with this simple act of breathing in, breathing out. So easy, nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to be. Being right here with this meditation object. And thoughts may come, and then they'll move on if we don't hold on to them. Allowing the mind to settle again into our meditation object. And we can notice if we're still present with the breath, our meditation object, or if the mind's wandered off, thinking, planning, doing something, fantasizing, just noticing that and allowing that to just calm. Coming back to the sense of breathing in, breathing out. The next invitation is to, we're still aware of the breathing in, breathing out, our meditation object. So even though we're aware of that, it's an object that's being known by the mind, right? There's this awareness. So we can kind of soften and widen our awareness, if that makes sense to you. But knowing that there's this thing being known, this meditation object being known, but it's being known by the mind. And so we can experience that if we let go of focusing on the breath, the meditation object, and just notice this awareness. Can you just play with that. Can you experience this awareness and just see the meditation object arising, fading in this awareness that is steady? So just play with that. So softening and widening and getting curious. There's this knowing, and it's knowing this meditation object, and the meditation object's coming and going. Can you get curious about that? Just experience that, however you experience it. Softening, widening, this mind, this knowing, observing the passing and arising of various experiences of the mind object. Can the mind just be present with this knowing? Watch the meditation object or thoughts or whatever coming and going, and the mind just is at ease. It's not doing anything, it's just receiving. And if this is frustrating, just go back to being with the breath. Can we sense this knowing of objects coming in and out of awareness? And just rest in that awareness, or rest in the breath. So what is the mind aware of? Is it still aware of this awareness with objects coming and going? Or whatever it's doing, we just be aware of that. And the next invitation is to, again, maintain the intention to be with our meditation object, but just noticing the changing nature of our experience of that meditation object or of whatever comes into our awareness. So maybe thoughts are coming and going, sounds are coming and going, body sensations. Can we be aware of this change? Constant changing, and the mind is just aware of it. The breath, body sensations, thoughts, sounds, all coming and going. Changing experience. Can the mind just observe this? The constant flow of objects being known by the mind, coming and going if we don't hold on to them. And can we notice how the mind's relating to this changing experience? If it's holding on to something, is there a tension? If it feels like nothing's happening, is it bored and pushing things away? And just notice how the mind's relating to this experience. Noticing what happens if we're just observing it coming and going versus holding on to something. Noticing if that affects the quality of our attention. Is the mind present with this moment-to-moment experience? Or is it lost in thought? And what's it paying attention to? And how's it relating to that? Is it just present, non-stressed, or is it holding on to something? Can we, if we notice a holding, can we just invite letting go? Letting go, it's just this. Let it go. Oh, and this too, let this go. And we can watch the effect of this invitation to let go on the mood of the mind. Maybe it doesn't want to. Maybe it happily lets go and is relaxing. Just noticing what happens when we introduce these invitations to get to know the mind. We can let go of all these different practices and just come back into the general awareness, the mind resting in the body. Sense of being here, however you sense that in the body. Just noticing that and then noticing the overall mood of the mind. How is it right now? It's like this in this moment. Now it's like this. Can we be with this? Just this. So the bell invites us to bring the awareness back to the surface from the body. And maybe just reflecting on what your experience was during that. Various meditation objects. Just being with the breath. How did the mind relate to that? Being aware of whether we were content being with the breath or whether we were restless and the mind wanted to do something else, thoughts. Then that invitation to experience the mind, observing things, how that went. Maybe it was frustrating or maybe it was interesting. And the last was just noticing change in the mind. The experience of the mind is constantly changing. And how do we relate to that? Is there a thought or a feeling we want to hold on to that we get frustrated, or can we just let it go? So these are various invitations we can play with in our mindfulness practice, various ways of practicing mindfulness with the breath or whatever your meditation object was as the anchor for our awareness. And then inviting these things to explore, to get to know the mind better and how it relates to the experience. So hopefully this long, and just noticing the effect of a long meditation, you can notice that too. Do you feel calmer or do you feel frustrated? You want to get up and run around the room? How was it? And hopefully the longer meditation allowed you to observe some things you wouldn't normally see in a shorter meditation. So I offer this for your exploration on your own. Hopefully this was helpful, give you some ideas and inspirations. And just as always, thank you for your practice and your willingness to do this exploration. So.